Hello, it's Daniel from Daniel G. Bennis Science Shows, and I want to show you today a really cool experiment that you could do at home involving thermodynamics that uses some very, very simple materials you probably have laying around your house right now. And when you finally perform the experiment, the end result will kind of blow your mind. Literally. Your mind won't be able to make sense of it, and it will struggle, and it is the equivalent of a sensory illusion. Alright, so here's what you need. You need a piece of styrofoam. About the size of your hand would be great, but if it's a little smaller, that's okay. And you also need a piece of metal. Now, the kind of metal you need, if you could have a flat piece of metal, that would be great. Something like a spatula or maybe a serving spoon. The styrofoam, doesn't matter how thick it is, it's full of air. So, as far as styrofoam goes, you know, you could probably find some of that in a box laying around your house right now. I would imagine an old printer or a coffee maker is sitting out in the garage, you know, the box to it, and it's got some styrofoam in it, and that would be perfect. The metal, you have to use your imagination. Now, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take these two materials and go into a room in your home where there's no fans on or airflow, but it's comfortable. A living room would be perfect, and you want to set these two items down next to each other, not touching, but next to each other. Doesn't matter how far away, it could be a couple inches, as long as they're in the same temperature and neither one of them has any air flowing across it, and they're on the same material. Now, once you set them there, you're going to leave them for about 30 minutes, and here's why. We need the temperature in the room and those materials to equalize, to become the same. Here's what you're going to do. Actually, let me go ahead and demonstrate this to you. Here is a model that I made. Now, this is a little bit fancier. It doesn't have to be this fancy. And both these materials I was able to purchase at a hardware store. Right here, there's a plate of metal. This is normally used to like secure rafters and, you know, things up, 2x4s up in the attic. And then this is some styrofoam that it's thick styrofoam used to put in your walls of your house. Now, if you look at the inside of my miniature space station I'm sitting in right now, this is styrofoam, but it's covered with a metallized layer. You don't want to use this kind. We already have metal. We need something different. We need an insulator, and so it has to be regular styrofoam. Even the white fluffy stuff is fine. Now you can see here I've got a liquid crystal thermometer on there. These things aren't very super accurate, but I've got one on each side. And let's see, that one is around 68, and that one may be a little bit warmer. So the metal one's a little bit warmer. The styrofoam is a little bit cooler. Now, I have a digital laser thermometer here, and I'm going to go ahead and test that. So let's go ahead and take a reading here, and I can see that it is 77 degrees according to this. Now, this could be a little bit off because you have to calibrate this for the type of material you're reflecting off of. But we'll just go ahead and say, yeah, 77 degrees. Now let's flip it over. The styrofoam, wow, it's only 73.2. So the styrofoam is colder than the metal. Okay? The styrofoam is colder than the metal. Now, I want you to remember that because here's how we're going to do this demonstration. I want you to take your hand and you're going to set it right on the metal, whether it's a spoon or whatever else, and feel it. What does it feel like? Does it feel cold? I bet it does. It feels cold. All right, at least it feels cool. Now let's flip it over and feel the styrofoam. I don't feel much of anything. But wait a minute, the longer I keep my hand there, it starts to feel warm. I'm feeling warmth now. Yeah, so it's starting to get kind of warm. And the metal, it's cold. But the metal is hotter than the styrofoam. We just proved that. 76 degrees on that side. 74 degrees on that side. And yet, when you feel it, it feels hotter than the metal. It doesn't make sense, does it? How does the hotter metal feel cold and the colder styrofoam feel hot? Well, the key is in the word conductivity or insulation. So if something is conductive, it conducts heat or electricity. That means it can move it along, it can absorb it and pass it along. Whereas an insulator is something that blocks it. It can't absorb it, it can't pass it along. Now, but wait a second. Why does the hotter thing feel colder and the colder thing feel hotter. Well, have you ever seen an optical illusion before? This is where your brain comes in and is fooling you. You have two types of sensors in your hands. You have hot and cold sensors, and they work differently. The hot sensors in your hands, they work one way. If heat energy moves in from the outside of your body towards the inside, from the outside of your skin towards the inside, then those will trigger your brain and tell you, hey, heat is coming into our body, and the object will feel warm or hot. That's what protects you from a hot stove. The cold receptors work the opposite way. If heat energy goes from the inside of your body towards the outside, it goes past those layers of neurons, those sensors, it will trigger your brain and tell you, we're losing heat. You need to get warm. Again, why does it feel like this? Well, here's the answer for you. The heat is the metal here, even though it's hotter with it's actually temperature-wise, it's hotter, but it feels cold because it's a conductor. It's pulling heat away from your hand. It's conducting it away, and that triggers the cold receptors because they only work when heat leaves your body. The heat receptors only work when heat goes into your body. Let's check the styrofoam. What's it doing? Well, it's insulating. It won't absorb heat. The heat is building up on the outside between your skin and the surface, and it starts to reflect heat back into your skin. And heat that goes from the outside in only triggers the heat receptors. So, even though it is a brain illusion, it is your skin and your body are actually working the way that they were designed to just fine. It's just how quickly you lose heat or how quickly heat builds up and starts to go back into your body. I hope that makes sense. I hope that was awesome. If it freaked your brain out a little bit, trust me, it did mine the very first time I ever experienced that. You don't even really need metal or styrofoam. You can honestly go into your living room right now and put your hand on a wooden coffee table or a glass coffee table, and then put your hand on the couch cushion. Now we know they're the same temperature because they've been in that room all day, but it still tricks your mind, doesn't it? All right, now remember how I showed you that this insulation, this styrofoam has a metal layer on it, and I said that wouldn't work for our experiment very well. It can, because it's still, you put your hand on it, it gets hot really, really quickly. As a matter of fact, it gets hot much quicker than this pink styrofoam does. But that is because there are different types of radiation and the ability to transmit radiation. Like this lamp right here. That gets hot really fast in here, very, very quickly. That is infrared radiation, and it actually goes across the room and it will heat up the object itself. Here's where science can throw you a curveball. This is a insulated space blanket, and of course it is. We're inside of a little tiny miniature space station right now. Yeah, this is where we are. This is designed to keep you warm, but remember, the metal here actually made you feel colder. So why would they make a space blanket out of a metal layer like this? This is Mylar. Why would they do that? Because obviously this feels cold. Why would you have this if you're trying to stay warm? Well, that's because different heat energy acts differently in different ways. This is the type of blanket right here designed to reflect infrared and heat radiation back at you. It acts like a mirror. So even though you touch it, yeah, it doesn't necessarily feel hot. It will get warm after a while because it's got a little bit of insulation inside there. But it's reflecting heat back at you. The proper term is black body radiation. If you have a car that's painted with black paint or dark blue paint, dark green, it will get much hotter, much quicker than a car that is painted white or yellow or another bright color. And that is because those darker colors, they absorb more frequencies of light and they heat up more. But by the same token, they actually radiate those same frequencies away just as easily. So an object that gets hotter will also cool off faster. So in other words, in the morning when the sun comes up and you have a white car and a black car, the black car will get hot much faster and be much hotter the entire day. But at night when the sun goes down and it gets cool, the black car will actually cool off at a faster rate than the white car. It will take longer for the white car. Try that sometime. You know what you could do? You could probably find a black object and a white object in your house, something that is safe to put outside in the sun. You could try this for yourself. I can't come up with anything right about now, but looking around me, man, there's all kinds of stuff that has the color black on it. Like these glasses. These get really hot in the summer, and they're also really dirty right now. All right, you can use this demonstration and experiment and play a trick on your friends or your family. Hey, let me know. Let me know on my Facebook page, scienceshows.tech. Daniel G. Bennis Science Shows. Let me know if you've experimented with this and tried this and how it turned out for you. All right, I hope you have an absolutely great day. Science all the things. Keep your mind going, and always stay curious. Take care.